always like to talk about, your CD now, the album, the songs that are on it, because to me, you're a songwriter and a singer, and I like to talk about each one. So the second one I show here is Bourbon. Uh-huh. Let's talk about that one.
So bourbon's kind of so my album is funny. I wrote. I'm a writer on every song on the album. I co-wrote a few of them with my friend who I wrote Skinny with. But I wrote every song on the album in a pretty serious way. It's not one of those albums with like seven co-writers on each song, right? I really wrote every song on the album.
Cool.
And similarly, my producer Charles Humanry, who I've been working with since I was in at Berkeley in college, he produced every song on the album. And the same engineer mixed every song on the album. And so Robin Byer, the name of the engineer. And so because the same producer produced it, the same engineer mixed it, the same writer wrote it, and the same singer sang it, I decided that I didn't want to stick with one genre in the album. That the album would be cohesive enough based on the fact that I made all of it, as opposed to using the production to cue the listener that it was me. And so Bourbon is a country song. We tried really hard to produce it pop. It did not work. It just doesn't work as a pop song. And so we gave up and made it the country song that it always should have been. And it's a song about, drinking that last bottle of bourbon. It's mine. Every song on my album is embarrassingly based on my real life. Like if you
Well,
know me a little bit, you'll know who every single song I've written about is. I use like very specific details that really happen. It's so embarrassing. So my ex actually drank bourbon all the time, and he left a bottle of bourbon at my apartment after we broke up. And it's a song about me in real life. I was getting ready to go out with a girlfriend of mine, and all the alcohol I had in the apartment was bourbon. And so as I was waiting for her to get there, her train was late. And I pulled out the bottle of bourbon and I wrote a goodbye song, realizing that I was finally willing to drink the bourbon and use up the bourbon because I was finally willing to let go of having proof that we had been together. So if you like country, you will like bourbon. I really like that song. I'm glad we did the arrangement as we did it. I think it's great.
it is. And number three is Favorite.
Favorite is my favorite song on the album. Funnily enough, it is really upbeat, full pop, but it's like I don't know if we have any Taylor Swift fans in the house. One of my reference songs for the production was Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift, which we all know is, for the real Swifties out there,
Yes.
they know it is the number two best non-single version. Other than All Too Well, Cruel Summer is the best song she ever put out that wasn't a single. All my Swifties know. And yeah, it's really kind of got that same energy, that really upbeat, like intense, fun, girly rock pop. Like it's not synth pop, it's rock pop. It has real instruments in it. But I just really like it, and it's a song about my dating life and how I wrote this other song after actually I went on something I call a doubleheader, which is when I schedule two dates in one day so that I only have to do my makeup once. And I went on these dates and they were fine, but I still found myself calling the person who I, had been with before and was still missing. And, so it's about kind of like when you have that straggler relationship, how difficult it is to get into something real and new. But I like that song. It's very fun and upbeat.
And of course, you have In and Out featuring John McLaughlin. What a great song.
Yeah, so that song I also wrote with a co-writer from Skinny, my friend Hadley Canary in down in Nashville, and we wrote that song over the pandemic when it was a bleak time in the industry, and
Yeah.
that ended up being the song that we pitched to John's team and John himself. And when we filmed the music video, which was recently on MTV and
Uh-huh.
CMT and all these great things, he told me that he gets a ton of offers for duets, but it was the first one he ever said yes to because the song was so good, which really just meant so much to me because I grew up listening to him, and so it's been amazing, and it's done really well, and it's so cool because he has fans all over the world. So I always get like Spotify notifications that are like, In and Out has hit 5,000 streams in Japan. And I'm like, really?
Awesome to
But yeah,
hear.
that song holds a really special place in my heart because, I wrote it at the darkest time of my career on the height of the pandemic, and it has
Mhm.
ended up opening so many doors for me. And that's why it's just so important to keep, to keep pushing, because you just don't know what's going to be the song that gets you where you need to go.
Cool. Number five, how love begins. Like, oh,
So, yes, I wrote one happy song in the history of my life. It's called How Love Begins. And ironically, it keeps getting placed on a show called Temptation Island, which is a show about people cheating on each other. So my one love song ever keeps getting on this thing of like over these hot people in bikinis openly cheating on their partners on national television. So feeling very romantic. No, but it's a song I wrote about, my parents are very happily married, and lots of people are really happy together, and it can be really hard. I'm 29 and single and dating, and it can get really depressing. And I went on a couple dates with somebody that were really great, and I felt my cynical brain kind of like shutting down and predicting already how it was going to end. And I was trying to remind myself that like sometimes you feel really good about somebody because they're the right person for you, and it does work out for some people sometimes. And that you've got to go on a great third date in order to get to 40 years of marriage. Like that's how it works. And as you can tell, I'm single, so it didn't work out, but we got the song, so that's all that matters.
there you go. That's how it goes. Oh my gosh. The next one is taste.
Taste is the song that my mom recently told me makes her uncomfortable when I sing it because it's a little sexy. And so I threw my co-writer Hadley under the bus and told my mom that it was all Hadley's idea. That's not true. It was my idea. But my mom was uncomfortable with the undertones of the song. So it's a song about it was during the pandemic we wrote it, and I think you can tell in the song I'm like missing travel because I just list all these cities I want to go to and like parties I want to go to. But it was just like I was on a date with somebody, and I realized that like I knew what I wanted to do, the wine I wanted to drink, my standards for how I was going to act. Like I knew what I wanted, and there was something so validating about growing up and developing taste. And like I know there's something sexy about knowing what you want. And
Yeah.
so that this is my song for everyone over the age of 26. It's about, it does, we age like fine wine, and then by the time we get to the age, we've aged like fine wine and we actually know how to drink fine wine. So it is the song for everyone who knows what they want because they've been at the game for a while.
So let's talk about number seven, dying.
Dying is the oldest song in the album. I wrote that song, man, now a long time ago. I wrote that song when I still lived in Boston and I had just gotten out of a tough breakup. And it's a song about, really just needing to use all your self control to not call somebody and go to somebody. But I really do think at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with having those wants and feelings. It's the goal is to just not act on them. And so yeah, that song was the first song me and my producer kind of produced super pop and super current, and I love that song. It's got a lot of streams on Spotify, and it kind of was I used to think, because I wrote songs like storyteller pop songs with a character who grows and develops, I used to think my songs had to have an acoustic guitar in it, they had to have violins in it. And it was the first song that we produced that was it was my storyteller pop, but it was really pop and current, and it really made me realize I can produce my music however I want.
Cool. Number eight, hold me.
Hold Me is another one that makes my parents uncomfortable. LOL. But it's a song about, I say like Monday morning Casey is a very different person than Saturday night Casey. Like Monday morning, go to the gym, buying groceries, I'm buying vegetables. You know what I mean? I've got plans. I'm a healthy, productive person. Saturday night Casey is a different person completely. She's eating pizza at 2 a.m. on a stoop, as we discussed in a previous song. She is not going to the gym, and she texts men that she would never text on a Monday morning. And so Hold Me goes out to all those Saturday night men, because they have a place in our lives. But they're not the most fulfilling. They're like McDonald's. You have something, you're so hungry, it doesn't really get you anywhere. So that's what that song's about.
Oh my God, you crack me up. Number nine, Lonely Together. Boy, do I know that one.
Yeah, so Lonely Together is a song. It's a pretty sexy song too. Ooh, I'm old now, so I write songs about all types of songs now. But Lonely Together is about, how it's about a relationship with somebody you've known for a long time, who you start seeing in a new light. And you're interested in a way that maybe it's not forever. But you could be lonely together for tonight. And it's kind of the going into a situation on a Saturday night, knowing that it's not going to be the world's most. It's not going to be the love of your life. But it might work for right now. So that's what that song's about.
And number 10, Can a Heart Go Bad? Interesting.
So this song is very heavy. Actually, funnily enough, this was going to be the title track of the album until I wrote the song Skinny. I wrote the song Skinny right before the album came out. And we
Wow.
decided, I was playing it live and people were reacting so strongly that we decided to rush the production on Skinny and get it done and put it on the album. We literally finished Skinny like right before we printed the album. And Can a Heart Go Bad had always been the plan to be the title track of the album, because Can a Heart Go Bad used to be the song that I sang and emotionally connected with people over. And I absolutely still love this song. Speaking of like varying genres, this song is, I would call this like a rock song. It is very organic. We even like mixed it in a different way. It's very raw. The song is very raw, and we kept the production and mix very raw because it's a very raw emotional song. I wrote this song about my anxiety disorder, and specifically what it was like to be a child with an undiagnosed anxiety disorder, not knowing that there was such a thing as mental health issues. And I grew up Catholic as well, and we're really good at guilt. And,
Hmm.
I think at least in the brand of Catholicism I was raised under, there are good people and bad people, and good people do good things and bad people do bad things. And if you do bad things, you're bad and you should feel bad about it. And it was very challenging to have panic attacks as a 9-year old in an Irish Catholic household, because the answer was, well, just more shame, more guilt. You're bad. Why are you behaving badly? Stop behaving badly. And the thing is, I was a really good kid. I did not want to be bad. So whatever guilt my parents put on me, I put 10 times more on myself.
Wow.
And the feelings I had was that when I would have what I now understand as a panic attack,
Hmm.
I did not choose to have a panic attack. They came to me. They happened to me. They happened through me. And I would think to myself, well, that must be who I really am. Because, I choose to help my mom with the dishes, and I choose to make my sister laugh, and I choose to walk my little brother to school. I choose those things. But the panic attacks, I don't choose. They're my real self coming out. Because remember, there are good people and there are bad people. So I was bad.
Yeah.
And that's why the chorus says, like, help. There's something wrong with my mind. Save me. I'm falling all the time. Can a heart go bad? That line, can a heart go bad? I'm going to get upset, but it's really heavy. It's a very personal part of my soul that this song is about. I phrased it as can a heart go bad because as a child, I did not have the words to say, Mom, I think I need to see a psychiatrist. I was saying, is it possible that I was born evil?
Wow.
And that's where those feelings come from. And that's why the song is so heavy. And actually, the song used to have different lyrics in the chorus. The song used to be um, like, Mom, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with my mind. Dad, I'm feeling sad. I'm falling all the time. And I decided to change it to take out the parents.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, as much as I wrote the beginning of the song from the perspective of like a 9-year-old, I couldn't ask those questions at 9. That's the point. I was a child. I didn't have the ability to ask for help. And so it's like, I wrote this song after a therapy session, and it was like I was trying to go back into my psyche and rewrite. I was trying to ask for my younger self. And so it's one of the only songs that we changed it. We decided to just simplify it to help save me, because it didn't make sense coming from an adult voice to be singing something so complicated from this perspective of a child. But the root of the song is incredibly raw for me, and really soul bearing. And it will always be an incredibly important song to me. And while I think Skinny is a more topical, everyone relates to the song Skinny. Everyone. I literally have never played it for anyone who didn't relate to the song, right? Which is why we made it the title track of the album. But Can a Heart Go Bad? When people relate to it, they really, really relate to it. And because I'm very happy with the fact that we decided to make it into an adult song, because it makes it more accessible to everyone, all the people that have had these issues. And I hear from a lot of people who like have lost people to suicide, like really difficult, heavy topics. And it's the first song I ever wrote that while I was writing it, I did not think I would ever release it. I genuinely wrote the song. That's why I wrote it from a child's perspective. I genuinely never thought I would ever, ever put that on the internet. It was too raw. It was too sad. It was too real. But I sent it to my little brother, who also has an anxiety disorder. And he told me that it was the first time he ever felt like he heard a song that actually described the self-punishment that results from mental health disorders, and that it meant so much to him to hear it. He felt so validated that I decided that I would do it. I would let people see that part of me, if other people out there might be able to feel that connection. So as you can tell, I write a lot of songs about silly, fun stuff, because there's a lot of parts of me. There's a lot of parts of me that are silly and fun, and there's a lot of parts of me that like boys and go on dates and break up with people. Because life's complicated, and I don't think you should have to be pigeonholed to one or the other. So I write about what I feel, and some days that's I feel 29 and sexy because I know how to order wine at a restaurant. And sometimes I write songs about really, really heavy things that I'm working through. But I think we should give ourselves, all of us should be given the grace. You can be both. You can be all of it. You don't have to pick. You can be heavy and silly and serious and fun and smart and stupid. You can be all of it. You don't have to pick.
That's why my kids say I'm goofy, and I love being goofy.
Goofy's the best.
Right.
But, goofy is grounded. There's levels, there's levels. And so I think that's why, honestly, I think these heavy songs that I have work really well live, because I'm fun. I'm funny. I like telling stories. I like making people laugh. I like making people comfortable. And so I'm able to sandwich these heavy topics in like the safety of happiness and jokes and connection. And we can talk about these things, and it doesn't have to ruin our night. It can make us feel open to all of these experiences instead,
So next is going to be a book. Imagine you in a book. Whew.
I need a ghostwriter.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone who can transcribe all this stupid stuff I say and make it sound coherent.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's like these songs are, your journal, and because that's where you write from. So how old were you when you kind of first realized, wow, I just wrote a song. This is cool.
I've been writing songs since I was really little, like
Wow.
little, like 4. Like I loved the concept of songs.
Yeah.
I would try to memorize I would try to memorize whole albums, all the lyrics. And like
Wow.
I was little, like 6 or 7, and I would like sing a song I'd memorized and then sing one of my songs and make my sister guess like which one I had written. And spoiler alert, she could always tell the professionally written song when I was 7 years old. Um, but yeah, I was writing songs all the time. I mean, I kept them. I have like little lyric journals full of stuff from when I was like 8. But it wasn't
Ooh.
until I learned to play the guitar when I was about 12 that I was able to all come together and I was able to start performing them. And I really haven't stopped since. But I've always been drawn over. I've never been into movies, never been into TV. I've always been a big reader, but it was songs for me. It was always that.
Well, we're thankful for that because we need these amazing songwriters to bring us these amazing songs to get us through life. And you seem
I
like you
think
did a lot
so.
during COVID. You wrote a lot that's going to make a
To keep me
difference in our
going,
lives.
yeah. To keep me going, I had to. Yeah. So, and sometimes, sometimes I go on like a writing spree and I write a ton of stuff, and then sometimes I don't write very much for a little while. And I've gotten better at like allowing that to be true. I used to feel really guilty if I wasn't continuously writing, and I realized that that's not like my style of songwriting. If I have a lot of feelings, I write a lot. And if I don't have a lot of feelings, I don't write that much, and that's okay.
Oh. Well, let's talk about you matter tour. Let's talk about that.
So as you can tell, like I like talking, I like telling stories about my songs, and I like connecting with people, and connecting through the songwriting. And
Yeah.
I've been writing about heavy shit since I was 10 years old. Like that is all. I like to think I'm a very happy person, but how I've how I tend to process difficult experiences, difficult feelings is through songwriting. So I have a lot of songs that are really heavy because I would say like when I'm at a party with my friends, it doesn't occur to me to leave the party and go write a happy song about how happy I am with my friends. It's when something's up here and I'm by myself that I go and write.
Yeah.
And so the You Matter Tour is an anti-bullying program that I run that uses songs I wrote when I was 13 and 15 and 17 to talk to kids about issues that come up when you're growing up. Because I'm uniquely positioned that as an adult, I don't have to try to remember what it felt like to be 15. I have songs from when I was 15 that like immortalize exactly how a 15-year-old would say it, how a 15-year-old would think about it. And so I wrote songs about, my experiences and the experiences of people I love. And, I wrote a lot of songs about boys when I was 15, but I wrote some songs about bullying and self-acceptance and self-perception and fitting in and the other things that teenagers really struggle with. And what I'm able to do now is use these stories and these songs as, empathy building tools. I think I never once used the word bullying in my entire program because I think the word bullying in some ways has lost any meaning. Being a bully is like calling somebody a vampire. Like it's like you're this evil other that's horrible and has no redeeming qualities and is the worst. And parents will fight to the death before allowing the label of bully to be applied to their child. And what I think is being missed in this entire thing is that people are hurt by the people that are in their friend group. People are picked on and made to feel insecure by the way that the people closest to them treat them. It's rarely what you see in the movies. It's rarely the big jock coming in and stuffing you in a locker. That's not what's, and even if that did happen, you'd be like, what an idiot. Like, why did that guy just do that? It's the person you trust and love who says, oh, why would we go to Sarah's birthday party? Like, do you remember last year? That's the stuff that hurts. And so when I talk, I tell these stories about my experience and actually my little brother's experience, who was sick as a child and was really bullied because of it. And I have a song that's very important to me and my family that I wrote about it at the time. I tell these stories of not only what it felt like to be on the receiving end of that bad behavior from those other students, but most importantly, I talk about how I still know the kids who picked on me, and I still know the kids who picked on my brother, and none of them remember doing it because it didn't mean that much to them. They didn't wake up every day rubbing their hands together saying, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ostracize the sick kid today. Like, no one's that evil. That's not real. That doesn't really happen. What happens is insecure kids they get picked on, and then they try to shift the energy. And if you're somebody who's overweight, sick, from a different cultural background, people will always find what they perceive as the weakest link, and that's the kid who continuously gets hit because everyone's getting picked on a little bit, but there's some kids that when those kids who got picked on a little bit, everyone shifts it onto them, and those are the kids who have a really, really difficult time because everyone's shifting onto them. But the thing is, it's because it's constant. It's that one kid who said that one thing wouldn't cause you to be in therapy 25 years later. It's the 100 kids who said it every day that causes you to be in therapy 25 years later. And so when I tell these stories about these experiences, I stress very strongly that the people who did these things did not perceive themselves as bullies. They did not wake up rubbing their hands together to pick on my brother. They're just normal kids who said mean shit. And that's and so I pitch it as an anti-bullying show because that's the buzzword that gets funding. But it's really a pro-empathy show because I believe most bullying is a result of teenagers and their brains not being formed properly to recognize empathy in the same way adults do.
Right.
And kids literally forget to be empathetic. Like, there are so many completely kind, functioning adults who were like mean to people in middle school. It's like normal people say mean things when they're 13 years old. And I always say, like, there has to be people out there who I went to school with who think I said something mean to them at a dance one time that I don't even remember, you know? And they're like, oh my God, Casey McQuillen talks about bullying. How freaking ironic. Like, I'm sure there are those people. I'm sure because my experience, I think I was a really kind kid, but I guarantee you I've said things that have hurt people's feelings before.
I think we all have.
Because we all have.
Yeah.
And so the goal of my program is through the story of my brother is to build empathy, that realizing that like the things you say like really matter, like they really matter. They like, it's not just adults telling you like not to bully, like there's real consequences. And the story about me and my experience is, you know, I was picked on for my appearance a lot. And I have a song about that called Beautiful. And the point of that story is that the kids see me with a lot of Instagram followers and albums and music videos and in a sparkly dress on stage, singing a song about how bad these kids made me feel. And the point is that the kids were wrong. I'm not weird. I'm not ugly. I'm not a loser. And the point is, if somebody's implying to you that you're weird and ugly and a loser, well, they said that to me and I'm not. So maybe you're not. And the goal is not to keep people from saying cruel things to you. You can't control that. I can't control that. It's that maybe there's going to be a little voice in the back of their head that says, Casey warned me, like, Casey warned me this would happen. Like, they're just jealous. They're just jealous. And if you just have a little voice that to fight all the voices that are like, you're the worst, I hate myself, right? Just a little voice. I didn't have that voice. It never occurred to me that the people who were bullying me were wrong. It never occurred to me. I was like, well, everyone seems to think I'm ugly, so I must be. It never occurred to me that they were just being mean, you know? So that's my anti-bullying program. And I will say, if this sounds interesting to you, I've played for 40,000 students at over 100 schools in the United States and Europe. It's an amazing. I really love the program. It's a school assembly. I come one time and play for the whole school. And if you're interested, you can go to my website, which is listentoCasey.com. And there's a whole tab where you can watch a video, like a sizzle reel of what the show looks like. And you can see my interview on the Kelly Clarkson show recently where I went and talked about the program. And all that stuff. And I'm booking for fall and fall 2022, spring 2023. So I would love to come in and see your school.
That'd be great. And our viewers get to see that again?
My website, which is listentoCasey.com. Yes, you can get me to come to your school. I do middle schools and high schools primarily.
And how's it been doing that? I'm having to walk to go plug in my laptop.
It's been phenomenal. I really missed it during the pandemic. I did some virtually, but it's just not the same. It's really like a community building opportunity when I come to these schools, and it's it's definitely something that is better in person. And so I put the show on hiatus for a lot of the pandemic. So I'm really stoked to get back in because I miss it. I miss the kids. They're hilarious. I think 12-year-olds are super funny. So I can't wait to go back in.
And so do you travel around the United States to do this?
I do.
You?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's really awesome. We'll make sure we get the word out for that. That's great.
Please do.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Do you have some tours coming up here?
I do. So not in the States. I've got a lot of shows in Europe coming up. Funnily enough, we did that James tour over there, and it's been popping off. So I'm going back. I'm doing my own shows in the UK. I'm doing 5 shows in the UK to all the fans I met during the James Morrison tour. And keep an eye on my tour dates because I have another big tour announcement is in the pipeline. I don't think I've been cleared to announce it just yet. But I'm gonna be all over Europe as well soon in the fall. So keep an eye out for those tour dates. I'm gonna be back in Europe for quite a while, which I'm really excited about, which is great. Yeah.
How do you like living over in New York from being out here in LA?
It is a bit more my speed. LA is great. The weather, every time I go, I'm like, well, the weather is phenomenal. But I think I'm an East Coast girl, so the like form of the style of communication in the Northeast is like I'm a bit direct and loud, if you've noticed. So in LA, my joke is my industry joke is that you go to Nashville and you do an audition and they go, you sing your song and they go, bless your heart, aren't you just the most talented woman that God has given us? I feel blessed that we're here today to see God's gift to you. And then you leave the room and they go, bless her heart, she was terrible. And then you go to LA and you audition, do the same song, and they go, oh my God, babe, that was amazing. I am obsessed. No, I cannot wait. I literally cannot. We've got to get you. We're going to go to brunch. Love you. No, I mean, amazing. You're the next thing. You're the best. I literally cannot. I will see you tomorrow. No, I promise. No, we will see each other. I loved it. And you leave the room and they go, she was freaking awful. And then you go to New York and you do your audition and you sing your song and they look up from their paper and they go, no, thanks. And that is the difference between the 3 cities. Everyone is just as mean in every city, but in New York, they just say no. They just say no. But then in Nashville, they just like talk around the no and don't say it. And then in LA, they just lie to your face and they don't say it. And as a Northeastern, when people like when I go to LA, people are like, oh my God, we should get brunch. And I'll be like, oh, like, are you free tomorrow? And they'll be like, oh, well, like, and I like it's a different language. You know what I mean? It's a different language. Or like in Nashville, it's, oh, we should totally jam. And I'll be like, oh, I'm free tomorrow night. And they're like, oh, well, I'm actually, a bit. But it's just, but in New York, if somebody in New York tells you they want to work with you, they literally mean it. They're like, tomorrow.
Wow.
Want to meet tomorrow. But you could be like, oh, do you want to write? And people will be like, I don't really feel like I have space for that in my calendar right now. Like people will just say no to your face. And it's so funny as a Northeastern or someone from the Northeast going to the different parts of the country because you realize everyone says no just as much, and everyone is rude just as much. They just say it in a different way. And I couldn't live in Nashville or LA because I take people at their word. When they say they want to hang out, I'm like, amazing, I have a friend. And then that's not what that means.
Thank you for letting us know about the West Coast, the Middle, and the East Coast. I've been to New York and I love New York and I love the
Oh,
people.
that's funny. So, like, I totally, but you could see why somebody from the Midwest would come to New York and think we were rude. If
Right,
you're used to
exactly.
people talking around a no, but
Yeah,
in the East Coast, wasting somebody's time is considered rude.
yeah,
So the
see?
most polite thing you can do in the East Coast is be honest and
Yeah,
direct and just say no, thank you, and just move on. But in the South, that would just be like so unbelievably rude. It's
right.
funny. It's funny. Yeah, I heard somebody say like the East Coast is not nice, but it's kind,
That
which
makes sense.
is very true. People will see you, they'll pull over when you're on the side of the road changing a tire, and they'll berate you the whole time that you don't know how to change a tire. What kind of person doesn't know how to change a tire? Billy, look at this idiot. They don't know how to change a tire. But they're changing your tire, like they're helping you, but they will make fun of you while they're doing it. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, this has been so enlightening. It's been amazing to meet you, and let's tell us your social media handles really quick.
Yes, so my name is Casey McQuillen, and that's how you find me on all the music streaming apps: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, all that stuff. Casey McQuillen. But my I know McQuillen is hard to spell, so my handle on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube is Listen to Casey, like the name Casey, Casey. And so you can find me all over the interwebs from Listen to Casey, and my Instagram, Listen to Casey. You know, you can, if you get to one of my socials, you can get to all of them. They're all like linked together and stuff, and through my website, listentocasey.com. And you know, I would ask the listeners, I don't think not everyone knows the best way you can support a new artist other than coming to our shows, which is the number one best way you can support us. But if you know, like me, I'm playing in Europe, there's not a lot of opportunities for you to come see me. Following us, like giving us a follow on Spotify or Apple Music. Everyone's like, oh, I followed you on Instagram. And I'd be like, can you follow me on Spotify? Because the apps really, really reward you for followers on that's the most important place. So I would say if you like this interview and you're interested in hearing my music, and you know, we'll plug some of the songs that we talked about today into the stream so we can take a listen. um go to your music streaming app of choice and give me a follow and save my songs. And that will just mean the world to me because Spotify pays attention, and my next songs to come out are going to be more likely to get playlisted because you followed me. So that is the name of the game right now, is playlists on these big sites. And so that's what I always ask people, you know, try to be honest about what I need from people, and that's a follow on those sites. And if you want to follow me on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff too, that would be great. But most importantly would be the streaming sites.
Wow, I didn't even know that. So thank you so much. There you go,
Yeah,
folks. Do exactly what she said.
exactly. People don't know. And like I for a long time wouldn't ask for it because I assumed people just weren't doing it because they didn't want to. And then I realized on this big tour in Europe, people had no idea that that's what I wanted. So I started asking for it on stage, and my followers grew so. I would just say that one sentence. Like, you might not know, but the best thing you can do to help me is follow my Spotify. And then
That is
people would, I
cool.
would watch them pull out their phone and follow. And then I was like, oh my God, I've cracked the code. All I need to do is ask people to do this. So please do. I would really appreciate it.
Well, we really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And wow, I'm 62 years old and I just learned a whole lot today
Oh,
from a
thank you.
29-year-old.
Thank
Year
you.
old. See, life is grand. Your mom did
Thank you so
well.
much. Thank you. Yeah, my parents are very wise. We're a family of talkers, so
That's good. Well, we appreciate you taking the time.
thank you guys. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll chat soon.
Cool.